Welcome to the Driving the World podcast series. I'm your host, Culley Holland. Today we are coming to you from the AGMA Motion and Power Expo, and we have Matt Croson with AGMA. Hey Matt, thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Also, fantastic show. Thanks for the invite. So why don't you go ahead and tell some of our listeners just who you are and what AGMA is all about.
Culley, thanks so much for being here. This is the first thing we've ever tried the podcast booth, and trying to give folks a chance to talk about what they do and how they do it. So we can't thank you enough, and SEW-EURODRIVE for being here. You guys are market leaders in so many things, and now you're market leaders in podcasts. So
hopefully one day we will be.
That's pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah. No, hey, look, AGMA, American Gear Manufacturers, right? 107 years old, right?
Wow.
It's a pretty neat group. It's been around for 107 years, and we've got about 415 members, all of them spanning the entire spectrum of gears and power transmission, really. And you're a great example as a company because you're not just gears. You're electric drive, you're fluid power, and that's what our customers ultimately are looking for, is power transmission. And as an association at this show and all the other things that we do, we kind of represent that. And we deliver as a primary value driver, and really the historical legacy value driver is our standards development process. And since 1916, when Ford Motor Company came to us and said, we love all your gear manufacturers, but there's inconsistency in terms of torque and really quality. And that was one of our first standards, was a quality standard for gears. And it wasn't for just automotive, but it was for gears in general. And that 2001 underlying, which is what it's called, it's ANSI, AGMA 2001. It's the fundamental gear standard that to this day is the underpinning of every gear design in the world, and especially from AGMA members. So we've been doing the standards thing with 500 different members who actively participate on 23 different subcommittees that we run. We have over 100 standards and information sheets. We are the ISO TC60 chair, and so not only are we the national standards body for gears, but we also are the chair for the international standards body. And so we're actively involved with DIN and other groups that also do standards to try to make sure that the industry has what it needs in terms of torque ratios, the metallurgy, all the different things you need. So it's kind of cool, and
I was about to say that's one of the best summarizations of an organization.
And that's just one thing we do.
Yeah, that's just one thing.
We have the show, and we have magazines. We have 36 different classes that we teach. We have meetings designed for CEOs, we have meetings designed for engineers, we have meetings designed for marketing professionals. We have this trade show which brings 2,000 people together. In addition to the standards, I like to say that we're a convener. And
yes.
Even with standards, you are convening for standards, where we convene for commerce, we convene for knowledge sharing through our magazine and other things like this. And I think that's our role, and I think we're pretty comfortable with it. And we give good support from the industry on a lot of different areas. And it's important. Our vision is AGMA and its members drive power transmission innovation. So there's a little pun in there on the drive and the power transmission, but I think it's really important, that conjunction, AGMA and its members. Because It's a collaboration, it's a partnership. And we have elements, we have responsibilities like making sure the standards is fair and consensus driven, and that one company can't turn something for inappropriate reasons. And the industry has its requirements to share information and give us access to things that we can support the broader industry with. So it's a really wonderful collaboration, and that's kind of why I love being in this group, because I don't know, you met them at lunch, we had a good lunch, good people,
yes.
Friendly people, smart as whips. I mean, you have PhDs winning stuff up there. You've got really brilliant minds creating this stuff, but they're also just fun. And I don't know.
You beat me to the punch. I've been here for the last 3 days. I have met countless people. It really is a convening, and it seems like everyone wants to work together. And that's something that I appreciate being in the industry. It seems fair, and it seems like a cohesive group, and that's something we need. And just to go back to the standards, you were talking about your first standard was a quality standard.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's something that not only your members, but everyone in the industry appreciates, because just speaking for SEW-EURODRIVE, we strive to put out a quality product.
Right.
And how can we do that if the components and the parts aren't held to a certain quality standard? So we can rely on AGMA to help provide us the guidance and really know where we're going with quality and what benchmarks we need to hit, so that at the end of the day we can give our solution and make sure it's a quality solution. So
no, that's right. And Cullen, the reality is that the standard that you would use, and look, you're a German-based company, so there's going to be DIN, there's going to be other standards that are involved. What it does is it gives you the fundamental basic standard.
Yes.
And then we know that you add value to that and maybe make it even better or add enhancements to it. I was in your booth over in Hanover, and I know the IoT components and the different things that you're tracking and giving the customer a lot of data so that they can then improve their quality, their production. It's nice to be part of the fundamental, and then what's really great about it is watching the innovation occur, where they make the product even better, and that's where you guys are always market leaders, and you know that you're comfortable in who you are. It's fun to watch you guys and see, where things are going, and then you realize everyone's going that way.
Oh yeah.
One of the ones that we did this year, I know you guys we were active participants, was in addition to general quality standards, we have application-oriented standards. One of them that we launched and finalized this year was a wind standard. And so here we are. Yeah, we're in the middle of alternative energy production. And there were issues as it relates to the drivetrains for these massively large energy producing windmill, wind turbines. And so we've updated it. It's out. You guys played an active role in it. It was great to have the industry come together. It took 4 years, so it took time. But that's an engineering product. But now everyone has an increased standard to meet, and we should see that quality go up. Same thing today. We had an EV town hall. Electric vehicles, they're coming, they're here. But NVH is still an issue. The design, all of the different flow that are issues with the fine pitch that is required, the improved grinding that's needed, the tolerance levels, they're all different. You're moving to 20,000 RPMs, which we don't do, and now all of a sudden you got to bring that down. What's going to change? We had a great EV town hall, and we are going to start talking more over the next year or so. I'm predicting we'll probably have an information sheet in that NVH area or tolerance area. But it's an example of a 107-year-old organization staying relevant through standards, innovating, and then bringing it back. We're going to have 3 new EV classes next year, so we're going to back that up with the training, and then we will start to see, more than likely, EV-oriented suppliers here, and so folks looking for the partnerships that they need can come to our event and find them. And so that's how industry keeps AGMA and its members are driving power transmission innovation through standards, through education, and that's an important thing. I don't think any organization can get to 100 years without adapting and adjusting and evolving.
No chance.
Yeah.
And it's just, I'm going to be echoing what you said, but the cohesiveness is not just the people. It's you guys wrap your arms around the entire process. I mean, 4 years is definitely nothing to shake a stick at. So
no.
You guys put in the time and the effort, and you bring the groups of people from the beginning to the end of the process to make sure everything works together.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it's cool.
I've learned a lot already, and I can't wait to learn more about AGMA while I'm.
Well, we would love to have it. I mean, SEW is very involved in our standards development process, and you guys have folks on seats on different levels, but we always welcome engagement, and you don't know what you don't know sometimes, and leadership is showing up often.
Yep.
And then when you show up and things flow your way, there's aha moments all over the show floor, and I'm glad you're here, Culley. I was in your Greenville plant. It's outside of Greenville, but the South Carolina Lyman.
Yep,
and
South Carolina.
South Carolina. one of the other things that we were paying attention to, and we're following in many ways you, because your automation capabilities and what you've done to take, basically your blanks come in,
Yep.
and they don't get touched again until they go out the door.
That's the goal.
Oh, I saw it, it was 600,000 a year you were throwing through the one plant that was just brand new, and it was all robotic, it was all, and then, the amazing thing about it too, when talking with your team down there was, there was tremendous concern on the floor operators that this meant they were losing their jobs. And what it meant was not that. In fact, what they became through your retraining programs and your internal effort were robotics controllers. And because look, everything needs downtime. You need changing out parts. You need to update and get ready for the next run. And so it was really cool to see that the 17 floor operators that used to stand at a machine all day now had been replaced by robots, but then they didn't get replaced.
Not at all.
They were doing other incredible things with more knowledge. They got smarter, they got better, and the company got smarter and got better because of it. So
we tried to grow and innovate, like we've been talking about, and that's something that I really like about SEW-EURODRIVE as well. Is
the commitment.
I know
right?
the commitment to the people, and also the commitment to improvement. And it is a very impressive facility. I'm lucky I can walk it almost every day. But all those guys, they just learned a new trade, and now they're servicing the machines and making sure everything runs smoothly. And then of course we always have folks that are checking behind on quality.
How did you get to SEW?
How did I get to SEW?
How did you walk in the doors of SEW?
It started back in college, actually. So I worked on a co-op program. So I went to school, and then I went to work, and then I went to school, and I went to work. I did that for 4 rotations, got about 18 months to 2 years of experience before ever getting my diploma. And then right out of school, I was lucky enough that they offered me a job in the corporate service department. And I hit the ground running. I've hopped jobs a little bit within SEW.
Corporate service is a good start, though.
It was a great start.
Because you're fixing problems, you're right on the cutting edge of, they need you, right? The customer calls in, you gotta...
They need you gotta go, and it's a great way to make sure you know all of the product, because you never know what you're gonna be working on.
At my last job, I was fortunate to work for Jim Owens, who was the CEO of H.B. Fuller. $3 billion adhesive and sealant company, and just a really great person. His first job at the time was called National Starch, was customer service. It was the person that took the phone call at midnight because their number one customer had a line go down or some issue, and then he had to fix it, get there, and 20 years later he's the CEO. And I think you learn a lot when you are dealing with customer problems.
100%.
You really get a sense for the
They're
market.
always unique, and you never know what's going to be on the other side of that line. So I was lucky enough to start there.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, the reason I brought it up is, that's one of the other commitments the AGMA has is, for the past 25, maybe almost 30 years, we've had a foundation, and we are, it's a nice example of industry helping industry. We take donations, they're tax deductible, companies donate, individuals donate. We have about $400,000 in reserve. We have money that comes in about $100,000 a year, but we spend money every year. And about $50,000 a year is spent on scholarships.
Really?
Yeah, and there's 2 issues right now that are one of the top issues for industry. The first is the retirees going out the door after decades of being operators, and that knowledge, right? The training that occurs to, now you have so many new people that don't know anything about how to make things, so training.
You're losing the tribal knowledge.
Tribal knowledge is a great term. And I know SEW has an incredible, we're impressed with your internal education program, so that's really wonderful. You've solved that, and that's good, or you're solving, right?
We're working on it. We're moving towards that.
The other part of it is attracting people to the industry, and so we do 2 things. One, we give money away. 87% of the recipients, over 100, 200, almost 200 recipients, have gone to work for member companies. So that's awesome. A nice track record of, we don't give out, we can only afford 4, 5, 6 a year, but over time, we're contributing to replacing some engineers. The second thing we did was a free program called Get Into Gears. You can go to the Foundation's website, download videos, brochures, posters, PowerPoint presentations for open houses. You can do social media posts, all that you can download with great graphics, explaining the industry, explaining what people work on. You can break into each of the files, add your own information, add your logo, add stuff that is exciting that you feel that they are. And then people are using that in the market to get people into gears. And we've had over 160 companies use that at open houses, when they tour high schools, colleges, technical schools. And we're starting to see, we're doing, I guess, it's a battle for everyone.
Yes.
But we're doing our best to get as many as we can. And it's been a nice funnel because we are seeing dozens and dozens come in through that kind of outreach and effort.
And I mean, that track record speaks for itself. You're saying almost 90% are staying in the industry, and
right.
I don't know any other plan that has that kind of track record of keeping people, because especially nowadays, people like to bounce around and hop around job to job, industry to industry. So I think it's amazing that AGMA is doing that, and hopefully, if any of our listeners that are listening right now, kids going into school trying to figure out what they want to do.
Applications around May, June. We go through a process. It's not an easy one. You have to give us a lot of information about who you are, what you're doing, and some of your examples of work you're doing. But once you get through it, by September we have checks in the mail, out the door, we announce them. So we highly encourage that. And also donations. I mean, we're supporting each other,
Right.
and we need support all around, but we're working together to do our part.
I love to hear that. I definitely feel that being at the show, getting to meet the folks, and I appreciate it. And is there anything else you want to touch on with AGMA, or?
No, just I would say that we need to be paying attention to EV and get the industry actively involved in how do we define success now with standards as it relates to that ever emerging topic. So just pay attention to what AGMA is up to, and I promised when I came here 7 years ago, as I jokingly said, I promised to get you to 100 in 1 year. I started in the 100th anniversary.
Right.
I said I'm going to get you to 101. So my promise is to get to 108 years, and with you and others working together, I think we can do it.
And I think, like you said, being over 100 years, I have no doubt that AGMA is going to do just fine with the EV and getting that knowledge out there. I really can't thank you enough for sitting down with me, having this conversation, and hope you have a great day, Matt.
You're welcome, Culley. Good to see you.